This week, a new threat has appeared. Dozens of talented hacker duelists with old duel disks have fallen into a coma. What is the logical thing to do? What is the best way to save everybody? Call the cops, have them launch an investigation, maybe shut Yugioh Vrains down for a while, put in extra security, start scanning potential victims, locate the patterns, and begin seriously attacking the Knights of Hanoi, ending this terrorist threat as it is now entering the realm of legitimate hurt and genuinely attacking people. Or we can totally just ignore it, have no real rules to try and save this, and leave everything up to a 16-year-old boy whose moral compass is based on whatever he's feeling for the next 5 minutes. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, everybody. There's a few holes in this setup for this whole thing. I'm just gonna jump right into it. So, I get the idea that Hanoi is attacking anyone who fits Playmaker's style to find him. But in theory, they know that he was from the Lost Incident or whatever the hell it was called. So why not just target the survivors? These are super smart hackers. You're telling me they can't hack a police report or something, or didn't keep names of people? Finding Yusaku should be easy, unless like Yusaku's not his real name or something. But even then, this shouldn't be that complicated. Like, you know he's one of like 50 kids. Like, just start taking them out. On top of that, I am just kind of like, why are there no police? Why is nobody doing anything? You literally see the Hanoi attacking 3 innocent people on a giant TV screen in a town square. Like, where is everybody? And I know some people are probably saying, but Kevin, this is how it's always been in Yu-Gi-Oh! Well, yes, but because the other Yu-Gi-Ohs used a supernatural element, there's nothing the police can really do. A good example of this was in Yu-Gi-Oh! Zale, when we introduced Kaito, and we saw how he was stealing the numbers and just, like, deteriorating people. I don't even know what you call it. That was such a haunting, good effect they added to it. Shut up, phone. That was such a haunting, good effect they added to things because you realized the helplessness of it. What's anyone going to do? What are the cops going to do? Kaito can just blow them up with galaxy eyes. How do you heal the people? Their souls are missing, and you're literally seeing their bodies deteriorate in front of them. Soulless, empty. It's one of the creepiest sort of things they've ever put in Yu-Gi-Oh! Because it emphasizes the helplessness of it. And then when you see Yuma, after the duel with Kaito, how he was 1 second away from becoming that, just as unable to be saved as anybody else, that's scary. And not only that, they never show if these people get their souls back. They probably do. But after months of their bodies just being rotted vegetables, like, it's really creepy and it's really not here. Part of that is because, well, we already wasted the creepiness on this with Aoi. Like, the whole time they're describing this, I'm like, you mean like what happened before? You mean like what happened before? You mean like what happened before? And just because you mention it once doesn't really make it scary again. It doesn't really do anything. Like, the thing is that if in that scene, like, I was trying to think last night before I went to sleep, how could you actually improve this? And I don't want to sound like some sort of throw the girl into everything. I was wondering maybe if, like, Aoi was here, like, maybe if it showed how scared she was, because this is something she went through, like, put in a human element to it. But the thing is, when you're just following Yusaku, who doesn't really have any personal attachments to anybody, I really just don't find this that creepy. There's no reason for me to get that intimidated. Everyone looks fine. They're just asleep. We know, based on Aoi, their bodies function just fine without their personalities or egos or minds or whatever you want to call it. And, well, Yusaku's probably just gonna, or in this case, Go, is going to just get it back at the end of next episode. Like, the threat really isn't here, and it sucks because I remember how creepy it was when it happened to Aoi, but it just sort of feels like you need to kind of do more with that than just, here it is, there it is, blah, blah, blah. Which sucks because everything with Go in this I thought was really interesting. Like, weirdly enough, everything they did with Go highlighted what I would have wanted out of this. I love sort of First up, I love the way they kind of bring Go back into this, and they sort of throw in that line, "You're not that popular right now," sort of showing that, kind of showing stuff has happened and time has progressed and all that stuff. But the thing is that it feels like a very conscious effort to put Go coming back in after the last big duel we had. So far in this show, we've explored how we follow characters who are good, but they're not necessarily doing things because of morally righteous hero-ness. And then you throw Go in here, who is that? He does this because he does what he does because he thinks it's the right thing to do, because he wants to help people, because he wants to help orphans, because he wants to protect kids. Then you give that personal connection with a kid he knows being affected. And I like the fact that Go has that sense of consequence that this is kind of my fault because I'm the one who encouraged this kid to duel. That's very good because remember, this was a character who no one was expecting anything from, and up until now has just kind of been this big, dumb, silly ape. Like, the thing is that you add that human element to it, and suddenly I'm invested because I want Go to succeed. I want Go to save this kid. When you have that character who adds that contrast to everything, in this case, that person who is just good for the sake of being good and morally right, compared to everyone else, it just sort of makes that character stand out more and makes them more likable because they are their own thing and their own identity. I have the distinct feeling that also where this is going is Yusaku is about to have to team up with Go and Aoi to do stuff. Like, the thing is that it's weird that they showed these three off almost as if they were a trio, but they're just kind of coming in and out of the plot at its own convenience. I think, because we're also in the 20s now, so in a few episodes we'll probably get an arc change and an OP change. Maybe they'll do like a 3-person tournament type thing, and they've got to do that. But now that Yusaku has seen that, because remember, Yusaku puts the weight of the world on his shoulders that he thinks he's the only one who can do this. But he has now seen Aoi can handle herself in the duel against the computer dude. Now, Go is going to have to handle himself in the duel against the professor or doctor, whatever. I'm sure Go's going to win. Like, oh no, he reveals Yusaku's identity, and that's sort of it. I actually like the way they sort of handle that Go just kind of pieces it together by looking at Yusaku. I much would have preferred that if they would do it this way, it would go to Aoi, who actually knows Yusaku in real life. But I kind of like the idea that Go is like, this weird kid who looks, sounds, and acts kind of like Playmaker was at the scene and helped the person who was attacked by an evil computer thing, which Playmaker protects people from. I just sort of like that it's very quick, it's very fast, which is how it would probably feel in real life. And also, I always get sort of sick of this when someone finds out a hero's secret identity. They're like, oh my god, it should be the most obvious thing in the world. Ignoring the Clark Kent with the glasses things. How does Batman ever just like, get this, I'm Bruce Wayne? I mean, it makes sense because this shit looks expensive, and also I'm the crazy eccentric billionaire. But that's pointless. But basically, I really think there's some good stuff in here, but I do think the plot setup could have been maybe handled a bit better, maybe introduced better or presented better. But tell me what you think in the comment section below. Tell me where you think the Go duel is going. Tell me if you're hoping for some sweet Goki action. And as for the TCG question of the week, sneak peek is this weekend. And all the rarities have been revealed to us. I don't say leaked because honestly, it's not a leak if we all probably should know it going into it anyways. It's interesting. Spiral Double Helix is Ultra and Babushka is Super. Is this Konami trying to... Shut up, phone. Is this Konami really trying to sort of balance things out? Maybe sort of take a lot of the excess money in the game? Although, granted, if everyone has to play Babushka and if Spirals really are Tier 0, they still get expensive just because of the quantity needed. But what do you think? Are you even okay with this? Because honestly, a part of me kind of likes it when super obnoxious Tier 1 decks are too expensive. A, it hurts the people who wants to play them because they got to spend a lot of money. And also, not only that, it sort of creates a sort of natural restriction on areas where maybe people can't spend a ton on Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, I've heard of locals, like, in not very good areas where people don't have $400 to spend on a deck, so they have to come up with other creative ideas and create more of a variety for their local meta. If Spirals are cheap, then that means that it will be Tier 0 everywhere. Same thing happened with Pepe, where most of the most important combo pieces in that deck were common, minus, say, Pendulum Sorcerer. But that's just the way I see it. If you think differently, I totally understand. Tell me that in the comment section below, and as always, click to like, click to subscribe, and we'll see you next time.